Well, good afternoon and welcome to October 27th, 2022 meeting of the ERCA Executive Committee. We will start by taking roll call of our board members to confirm attendance. Councillor Len Janice. Thank you. Deputy Mayor Larry Verbeek.
Present.
Deputy Mayor Joe Bicchetti.
Present.
And Councillor Kieran McKenzie.
Present.
Thank you all for joining us today. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that this land is the traditional territory of the Three Fires Confederacy of First Nations, comprised of the Ojibwe, the Ottawa, and the Petawatomi peoples. We value the significant historical and contemporary contributions of local and regional First Nations and all of the original peoples of Turtle Island, North America, who have been living and working on the land from time immemorial. Do we have any declarations of pecuniary interest today? I'm seeing none. That the agenda for the Thursday, October 27th, 2022 meeting of the Executive Committee be approved. Moved by Deputy Mayor Verbeek, seconded by Councillor Len Janice. Anybody opposed? No, that is carried. We'll now convene as the hearing board so that the Executive Committee sit as the hearing board in respect of an application under Section 28 of the Conservation Authorities Act. Moved by Deputy Mayor Bicchetti, seconded by Councillor Janice. Anybody opposed? Okay, so we're now going to conduct hearings under Section 28 of the Conservation Authorities Act in respect to one application. Melissa Somerville is requesting relief from access of ingress and egress policy requirements to construct a new dwelling at 1134 Heritage Road in the town of Kingsville. We as the hearing board are unaware of the matters being brought forward, and we are only now receiving and reviewing the information provided by the staff this afternoon. The authority has adopted regulations under Section 28 of the Conservation Authorities Act, which requires the permission of the authority for development within an area regulated by the authority in order to ensure no adverse effect on or the control of flooding, erosion, dynamic beaches, or pollution or conservation of land, or to permit alteration to a shoreline or watercourse or interference with a wetland. The staff has reviewed this proposed work, and a copy of the staff report has been given to the applicant. The Conservation Authorities Act Section 2812 provides that permission required under a regulation made under Clause 1B or 8 shall not be refused or granted subject to conditions unless the person requesting permission has been given the opportunity to require a hearing before the authority, or if the authority so directs, before the authority's executive committee. In holding these hearings, the authority board is to determine whether or not a permit is to be issued. In doing so, we can only consider the application of the form that is before us, the staff report, such evidence as may be given, and the submissions to be made on behalf of each applicant. The proceedings will be conducted accordingly to the Statutory Powers Procedure Act under Section 5 of the Canada Evidence Act. A witness may refuse to answer any question on the ground that the answer may tend to criminate the person or may tend to establish his or her liability to a civil proceeding or the instance of the Crown of any person. The procedure in general shall be informal. However, this is a quasi-judicial process and provides for evidence to be given in response to members' question. Therefore, staff and applicants will be asked to swear on oath or provide an affirmation to speak the truth. In accordance with Section 28 of the Act, an applicant who has been refused permission or who objects to conditions imposed on a permission may, within 30 days of receiving the reasons, appeal in writing to the minister, who may refuse the permission or grant permission with or without conditions. Through order in council, the responsibility for hearing the appeal has been transferred to the Ontario Lands Tribunal. If the applicant has any questions to ask of the hearing board or of the authority representative, they must be directed through the chair of the board. Staff will first introduce the applicant and his or her or the owner and others wishing to speak, and then present the staff position. The applicant and or their agent may then speak and may make any comments on the staff position if they so desire. I would also like to remind everyone that the hearing board is open to the public. However, as stated earlier, this is a quasi-judicial process, and accordingly, the general public may observe but are not third party to the matters before us today and cannot participate. We as the hearing board will question, if necessary, both the staff and or the applicant agent. Before I ask GN General Regulations Coordinator to introduce the application, I would also ask that he swear an oath or provide affirmation. Mr. Jenner, what is your preference?
Affirmation, please.
Thank you. Do you solemnly affirm that the evidence which you are about to give in this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you?
I do.
Thank you. And now, Mr. Jenner, if you can now introduce your applicant in the context of the application.
Absolutely. Thank you, Madam Chair, and everyone for being here this morning with us. A little bit different than our afternoon meetings. We do have one application before the hearing board tonight, made by Melissa Somerville at 1134 Heritage Road. And Melissa is with us this afternoon. She may disappear from camera depending on the quality of her internet. At least that's what she said when I spoke with her yesterday. The application that's before the hearing board tonight is for the construction of a new home. And next slide, please. Located on Heritage Road within the town of Kingsville. We are kind of near the Cedar Creek Bridge, Cedar Island Yacht Club area. There's been multiple hearings in this area for this particular stretch of roadway in the past. Next slide, please. The applicant is seeking relief from the ingress and egress or access policy requirements. We do have a complete application that staff have reviewed. Next slide, please. And that application confirms that we will be meeting all regulatory standards. So in this particular area, the floodproofing of 176.20 meters Geodetic Survey Canada, which includes our board-approved freeboard. We are meeting the minimum setback requirements and seeking relief from the access policy requirements. The minimum ERCA road elevation for this section of Lake Erie is 175.6 meters Geodetic Survey Canada, and the provincial minimum road elevation is 175.4 meters Geodetic Survey. Next slide, please. The access route for this particular property would be along Heritage Road to McCain Side Road. It is approximately 0.4 meters or 17.5 inches below the ERCA minimum, and about 0.24 meters, about 10 inches below the provincial requirements. The roadway in this area is fully delineated. This area is fully developed, including this particular property, which currently has a house that will be removed and reconstructed to today's standards, including that flood protection standard. Emergency first responders at the town of Kingsville are well aware of the low-lying flood-prone nature of this stretch of Heritage Road. And as I stated, we are meeting all of the other regulatory requirements for this particular application. With that, next slide, please. Staff are recommending approval. We are recommending specifically that the application from Melissa Somerville to request relief from the access, ingress, and egress policy requirements to construct a new dwelling at 1134 Heritage Road in the town of Kingsville be approved. Thank you.
Here we go. Thank you, Mr. Jenner. Do we have any questions or comments from board members? Seeing none. Now, Melissa, if you would like to speak, I would have to ask that you take an oath. Are you interested in speaking? Okay. Oh, just lost my spot here. So on the application for Melissa Somerville to request relief from access, ingress, egress policy requirements to construct a new dwelling at 1134 Heritage Road in the town of Kingsville be approved. Moved by Councillor Janice, seconded by Deputy Mayor Verbeek. Anybody opposed? No, that is carried. Thank you for joining us, Melissa. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, committee.
Thank you, committee. Thank you, Mr. Jenner. And now for the hearing board to reconvene, that the hearing board reconvene to the executive committee, moved by Deputy Mayor Bichetti, seconded by Councillor McKenzie. Anybody opposed? That is carried. We have tenders. The John R. Park Homestead Pedestrian Path Reconstruction. Kevin Money will be presenting tenders for this process. Welcome, Kevin.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and everybody today. Today we actually have 3 tenders before us. 2 are sole sourced, and the first, however, has to do with the construction of a new trail at the John R. Park Homestead. Um, is Nicole here to bring up the tender sheet? No.
I believe that I can do that, and that is Danielle speaking. So if you will
I'm
just,
sorry. That's fine. I didn't realize that Nicole wasn't going to be here this morning.
Kevin, your audio quality is acting up on you. So you might want to douse your camera.
Yeah. Can everybody hear me better now?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. What I'm going to be doing is opening up 4 tender documents that were received. We received 5 tenders in person. 5 tenders in total. First, it was received electronically by Jeff Shepley, and that's why we've already entered that amount in because we received it before the tender closing electronically. And we received 4 by mail or by in person. So the first one that I'm going to be opening is for Rudak Excavating. And just for context, this is construction of a new trail at the John R. Park Homestead, which will be behind the sawmill, and it'll extend the trail out into the beach area, providing access for pedestrians to access that area of the park. It is 100% funded externally through a grant through the Southwest Ontario Tourism Organization. So unfortunately, I'm not able to use my camera, but I am opening up the envelopes now. The first one is Rudak Excavating. Bid bonds are in place. All documents are signed and in order, and the value associated with this project from Rudak Excavating is $54,200. Okay. The next one I'm going to be opening is from Nevin Construction. Bonds are in place. Documents are signed and stamped in order. The value of this one is $75,170. Thank you, Danielle. The next envelope that I'm opening is Quality Turf. Bid bond check is in place. All documents are signed and in order. The value from Quality Turf is $49,155. The last envelope I'm opening is from Atassa Incorporated. Bid bonds are in place. Document is signed. The value from Matassa Incorporated is $57,225. Okay. Based on that, Madam Chair, would you like to make a recommendation? Oh, you're muted.
Any questions or comments from board members, committee members? I think I was just looking up myself a couple of one I'm not so familiar with. Have we done business with Quality Turf in the past on any of our trails?
Through you, Madam Chair. Yeah, we just finished a trail construction project with Quality Turf at the Holiday Beach Conservation
Okay.
Area.
Thank
So
you.
we have no concerns.
Okay, you know what? That's why it was familiar and I just can't remember everything these days. Okay, any questions or comments from board members? I cannot see anybody. Feel free to unmute yourself. I am now having a freezing. If you can see, I'm having freezing stuff occurring as well. Any questions or comments? Councillor McKenzie.
I'd be prepared to move the or to move that we go with the lowest bidder, Quality Turf.
Okay. And Councillor Janice? Going to second that motion?
Second it.
Okay, so on the tender report for the pedestrian path at the John R. Park Homestead, that Quality Turf, was it? It's frozen again. Be awarded the tender. Yeah. Anybody?
Subject to full administrative review.
Certainly.
Yes.
Anybody opposed? No, then that is carried.
Thank you, committee.
And now we have ECO 422, the John R. Park Homestead parking lot surface treatment. Kevin Money will be speaking to this report as well.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So included in the 2022 budget was an opportunity to start surface treating our parking lots within our conservation areas. There's kind of three main reasons behind this. One, it improves visitor services. So especially during the winter time, when our granular parking lots get quite muddy as we go through freeze-thaw cycles. Secondly, it has to reduce liability a little bit because sometimes, especially during the winter, the parking lots undergo when they freeze and thaw, it generates potholes that sometimes fill with water. So it creates potential slip incidents for the pedestrians or users. So to avoid these types of things, as well as improve accessibility for those with mobility issues, we've put forward a budget to start tar and chipping all of our parking lots. We've gone through the engineering exercise for this particular project, and because there only ever seems to be one contractor within this region who does this type of work, and this was confirmed through verbal communications with a few other directors from municipalities as well. We simply chose to seek out a price from Shepley Excavating for this work. The actual report is before you, as well as the resolution, and I'd be happy to respond to any questions about this particular project.
Deputy Mayor Verbeek.
Well, I'm sure Joe can attest to it. We're having an issue on county council just appointing somebody. I'm not sure if tenders are required.
Good question, Deputy Mayor Verbeek. I was just going to also just point out, as someone had asked, we are actually observing right here, right now, 3 different forms of project works. One is a tender. We are now looking at a sole source contract, and then thirdly, a second sole source contract. If Kevin or Tim could just maybe confirm how we are going forward in these processes and why each one is done in a different process.
Both for availability of individuals that are capable, we're securing that we're having an open competitive format here They're just simply in these following reports, the one that we're currently dealing with and the upcoming one, there are no other contractors available to do this type of work. In the case that's in front of us right now for the homestead, it's basically it's a tar and chip covering, a tar and chip coating. And in the past, we have opened up, and our procurement policies direct us to go and seek a number of qualified individuals to do any work when we're tendering. In this case, and in this application, regionally, there is one contractor out there that does this work. And so because we could get it down to below the $50,000 threshold, we feel comfortable in coming to the board and saying we will sole source this application, this tar and chip application at the homestead.
Okay, thank you. Any additional questions or comments? Councillor McKenzie?
And just if I just in terms of the finance, 39,760 times 13%, that's right around that $45,000 mark that is currently remaining in the budget for this work.
Correct.
That's correct. It is within budget parameters.
Okay, I'd be prepared to move it at the appropriate time, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional questions or comments? Okay, so on this report that a sole source contract be awarded to Shepley excavation and road maintenance to complete the surface treatment of the John R. Park Homestead parking lot, and the quote received. Moved by Councillor McKenzie, seconded by Councillor Lengenis. Anybody opposed? That is carried.
Thank you, committee.
Next, report on the Holiday Beach Conservation Area Bike Trail. Kevin Money will be presenting information related to this as well.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A few years ago, the Essex Region Conservation Authority entered into a relationship with the Amherstburg Community Foundation to build a wetland and to build a mountain biking trail, or what people sometimes call single track trail as well. The first aspect of that, which was a wetland, was publicly tendered because there were multiple contractors capable of doing that type of work. It came before this committee, and that work was awarded and completed this past March. And the second phase of this project is to actually build a mountain bike trail at Holiday Beach. The process associated with this went through various iterations of design related to constraints. The original vision was to build quite a large feature, engage volunteers, and have a variety of users and extend the trail approximately 10 kilometers. That was the original vision. As we actually dived into the finer detail, the actual constructability of a trail, the feasibility of building something like this as it relates to costs, as well as very significant concern from our own biological staff related to placements of the trail adjacent to endangered species habitat. It very quickly became apparent that we needed to scale back this project, make it reasonable, ensure that we were able to build a trail in a place that wasn't going to impact species at risk, and do it in a very responsible way. So the other thing that the Conservation Authority did at the same time was work extensively with City of Windsor administration, who, to the best of our knowledge, is the only other organization that's actually gone through a process of building mountain bike trails recently. They went through a public process, RFQ, etc., to seek qualified companies to actually build mountain bike trails. And at the end of their process, they came up with one company, which is called Dirt by Design. So rather than reinventing the wheel, we decided to bring before this board a report that we think would be more efficient in terms of timing and administrative resources to simply use that information and seek a sole source request from this committee to move forward with this particular company to award this work and build this mountain biking trail. I'll be happy to respond to any questions.
Any questions or comments, committee members? Councillor Janice? Okay.
Thank you. Kevin, just in your report, and you know what? We approve a lot of stuff, and I particularly don't remember approving, I know the wetlands work, but not necessarily a dirt bike trail or a mountain bike trail, which I guess on the face value and thinking about it, hearing problems in East Windsor with, it wasn't a trail, but they certainly made a trail and they did all kinds of stuff. And they talked about damaging trees and vegetation. And I think that's a bit of a conflict, I guess, but it appears that you've moved it out of that I know as the conservation area, basically and over across the street or next door into a different area. This was, I mean, guess with the project being initiated, I guess, by the Friends of Amherstburg Community Foundation. Are they aware of this change that what they thought they might be getting is going to be changed a bit?
Through you, Madam Chair, yes, they've been engaged and informed of the challenges that we're originally facing with it. In addition, this project's fully funded through the Amherstburg money and our foundation. The money comes through our foundation for this.
Yeah, thank you. I saw that. I just was wondering if they were aware, you know, somebody comes with an idea today, a group gets a hold of it and totally changes it. So I just wanted to know what communication has been back and forth, either with the town of Amherstburg and or the group that proposed this in the first place. And I guess I wouldn't oppose it, but by no means, but that's what they want. But I'm really surprised that we're building this kind of a thing in a conservation area.
Any additional questions or comments? Okay, so that on this report that a sole source contract be awarded to Dirt by Design to complete a mountain bike trail at Holiday Beach Conservation Area as per the quote received in the amount of $74,800 plus HST. Moved by Deputy Mayor Burketti, seconded by Councillor McKenzie. Anybody opposed? That is carried.
Thank you very much, committee.
We do not have any reports for approval. Committee of the whole, prior to this meeting of the executive committee, we held an in-camera meeting regarding confidential matters related to personnel. I require a motion for endorsement of those actions. So confidential matters related to personnel, endorse actions of the executive committee, that the executive committee endorse the actions of the executive committee in the committee of the whole. Moved by Councillor McKenzie, seconded by Deputy Mayor Verbeek.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
James, do you have your hand up there?
Don't see James.
I do not. I'm here, but I do not have my hand up.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. So on the endorsement for the previous meeting of being in the whole, moved by, we did say Councillor McKenzie and Deputy Mayor Verbeek. Anybody opposed? Nobody's opposed. New business. Is there any new business members wish to address? I am seeing none. Other business. The next meeting of the ERCA Board of Directors will be held on Thursday, November the 10th, 2022 at 6 p.m. in Council Chambers at the Civic Center. Okay, so this now concludes our meeting of the ERCA Executive Committee today. Thank you for joining us today. I would also ask for a motion to adjourn. Adjournment moved by Deputy Mayor Burketti, seconded by Councillor McKenzie. And we are